dark and diabolical objection handling tactics that I use to close 10K. And I didn't write this in the title, 20K paid in fulls on a tough dating offer. How did I do it? This was what put me at 10K, 15K plus in commissions, my highest month being 18,000 in February of 2024. How did I do that? I became one of the best people in my space at handling objections in remote sales, and now I teach it to people. I teach people how to handle objections, how to create massive compliance on their sales calls and increase their close percentages and make a bunch of money. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to break down to you actually 5 really, really dark strategies that I used and still use to this day to handle objections. 2 things I need to qualify. I want to explain to you 2 things before we get into the training. Number 1, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I was a dating coach for 5 years. So for a very long time, I was in the weeds teaching men dating skills, how to attract women, how to work on their confidence, how to get dates with very high quality, like attractive women. And I learned that skill set myself. I spent years learning it because I was very, very bad at that in my teenage years and going into university. I was terrible at like meeting chicks. So I just devoured to master that. And that was my first entry point into communication and leadership. So I had to learn and master dating skills. And then when I got into remote sales, because I thought remote sales would be like super easy, I was like, oh, I can pivot from dating to remote sales because I was a dating coach. My business didn't end up doing well. Had a falling out with my business partner. And this is back in 2023, and I had to like find a way to make money online or I would have been in a bad position. So I got into remote sales because I thought that it was going to be easy. I was like, oh, I can just make money off my laptop. I was sold the dream, the same dream everyone has sold, and then I got cooked in the space. So I actually had to lock in and learn how to properly handle objections, how to properly lead, how to properly take a prospect from, on the fence or just questioning or information gathering to having them want to buy. And that was what helped me get really, really good in sales, learning how to handle objections at an elite level and understand the psychology of selling. But I had this big journey of dating coaching that I had done before, which made me way better at sales than all of my peers that I got into the space with at the same time with, right? So all the guys that I was training with in that program, I ended up coaching a lot of them, and they would even ask me for training, but it was because I was a dating coach for so long. So wink, wink. I had a long context of learning human behavior and compliance, leadership, frames, that kind of psychology before I ever became a sales trainer and before I even got into sales. And then this is a little bit of clickbait, okay, this video. I am going to give you 5 crazy psychological strategies that you can use right now on your calls to make more money and handle objections. I'm going to give you that, like, for a fact here. But this is a little bit of clickbait because what I'm giving you here is not evil. And I want that to be really, really clear. It's not evil. Like I said in the title, it's dark and diabolical. It's really not, because when I sell, I only sell things that I'm absolutely certain can help prospects actually make change. I'm only selling things that I know are absolutely going to have a positive effect in someone's life. And if you're selling things that are actually hurting people, if you're selling things that are one step away from a scam, then you are not putting people in the best position to succeed, and you're actually hurting people. But in my case, all the tactics that I'm going to give you here, which are, again, crazy tactics that are very helpful and absolutely will work, and you can use them in a lot of different ways outside of sales, which that's actually the funny part about this. But I don't use them outside of sales. Don't use these things for anything else other than selling. These tactics are not evil because I'm using them to actually help someone make change. And as an example, the people who work with me who have invested in our program, the people that I put on offers, they're all on offers where they're helping people make a massive change. Like take Sati, he's at 25K a month. He just hit 25K this January. Like that guy is helping people build yoga businesses and literally transform people's lives. He's helping people make change. So that guy is one of the best guys at objection handling that I've ever seen in the space. He's an absolute wizard in the game of sales, and I've trained him myself, and that guy's helping people, right? And I could name more of our people, but use this for good, use it on a good offer, help people make change. So let's go into the actual sauce. So the first thing that I do, the first tactic that I use, and this is one you've heard in the sales space before because everyone talks about it. It's a basic one that everyone knows, but I'm going to teach it to you in a way that you may not have heard before, is what we call disarming, okay? Disarming basically means when you go into handling objections or you go into challenging someone on something, because objection handling doesn't always have to just be at the end of a call. Objection handling can be in the middle of a call when someone is giving you, some kind of resistance to making change at the top of the call. It could be that too. It doesn't have to just be the end of the call. Objection handling is inherently a very a very, what's the word I want to use, a process that has a lot of tension in it, because you're getting someone to change their thinking, or you're getting them to operate against where they previously wanted to go, right? So someone says, I want to think about things, and you get them to not take more time and think about things, and you get them to end up buying, that has a certain element of tension, a certain element of confrontation. That's the word I was looking for, of confrontation behind it, right? Because you're getting someone to divert from a path that they explicitly stated they wanted to go down, and you're having them change their course of action into something new, right? Thus is why objection handling can be tough for a lot of sales pros, sales reps. And if you're a sales rep who's stuck at like 3 to 5K in commissions, 6K in commissions, and you know you could do 15, 20K and change your life, change your family's life, a big part of it probably is that you're having conversations that are just too smooth. They're not confrontational enough, and thus your prospects don't feel an urgency or a need to make change on the call, which is a huge problem, and we don't want that to happen, right? So the first thing that we do is disarming. I'm always disarming my prospects, because before I go in and destroy their objections, or their masks, if someone says I want to think about it, that's not really an objection. That's what I call a mask, where it's not literally the thing that they want to do. There's some kind of fear coming up, and they're saying they want to think about it, but really there's a reason, a hidden reason for why they want to take time and think about things, right? But what I'm doing is I'm always disarming my prospects before I go into an objection handling conversation, right? So what I'll do, and the way it sounds is, you may have heard this before, when someone says, hey, can you send me an email, or I want to go think about it, I just need a few days. My response is, yeah, it's zero problem at all. Take all the time you need, no stress, okay? But what's a little different is, number one, I want you to be clear on this. This will make you better. I'm not going to validate their walking away. Right? So the person says, I can't make a change now. I need time to think about it. I'm not going to validate it. Validating it sounds like, yeah, no worries. I totally understand. No worries. That makes sense. No worries. I totally get how you would want to do that. You're telling them the action you're taking makes sense and it's good. I'm not going to ever validate the action of walking away. I'll never do that. I'll say, no worries. Take the time you need. No worries. Like, dude, totally fine. Right? Totally fine. Not a problem. There's no negative there, but I'm not going to validate it and drive it forward, which would be like, hey, I get how you want to do that. Not a problem. I'm totally cool with that in terms of I understand it. I would do the same thing. I've heard some sales pros saying, yeah, someone says, I want to talk to my wife. And the sales pro was like, yeah, I totally get it. I have a partner. I would do the same thing myself. No, because you validated what they did as correct. I would not do the same thing myself. I would make a decision here. You know, you can't validate the inaction. So what I'll do, if they say, I want to talk to my wife, not a problem. No worries. Take the time you need to have that conversation. Just before you go and take the time to talk to her, I'm just curious if you feel like we can help, just in your own opinion, like your own mind. Do you feel like what we can do can help you make change and be at that position where you have 10K a month in ecomm? Or how do you feel? And then I'll get into my scripting to handle the objections. What I need to do, and the reason I wrote disarming is number one, even though you may have heard it before, but this is extremely important. The other ones are going to be crazy, by the way. Number one is the simplest one. And I put them in order from like least manipulative to most manipulative. Okay, so number 5 is crazy manipulative, and it's called, I'll tell you, number 5, I'm looking at my notes here, creating crossroads. That's what number 5 is. I don't think you've probably heard that anywhere. Maybe if you have, they don't teach it well. Anyway, so what I'm doing is, I need to let my prospect, I need to have them let their guard down 100%. Before I go into objection handling, and I'm very aggressive with my objections. Not aggressive, by the way, in terms of my energy. My energy is very calm, grounded, and relaxed. I'm not aggressive, like pushy, none of that. It's very calm. If you've seen my channel, if you look through my stuff, you've seen what I do, you understand the game we play here. But my process is very aggressive. I don't let people walk away without making change, or at least committing to not making change, right? I don't let that happen. And the reason I'm able to do this is because I let my prospect get their guard down 100%. So there's no like bracing for impact up. So I can challenge them and pressure them within reason as much as I want, right? Without ever triggering a negative response, because I disarm them so strongly. And disarming, what does that look like? It's like, yeah, not a problem. Take the time you need. Totally okay. No stress. And you have to embody this. So what a lot of closers do wrong is they'll be like, yeah, no, it's fine. Take the time you need. And I'm like, dude, you didn't believe that just now. Like when you told them take the time you need, I could hear you were panicking and you're mad that they're not buying right now. You have to genuinely believe, embody, and feel like it's not a problem at all. It's all good, no stress. You have to communicate that way, because if you don't communicate that way, the prospect is going to feel in your subcommunication, they're going to feel in your underlying response, they're going to feel, yeah, this person really does have a problem with me not buying. And then they're going to feel, oh, he wants something from me. which is a problem. That's an issue. Number two, let's get even deeper down the rabbit hole. The second level of psychology, the second diabolical tactic you can use. This one's, you're going to love this. Trust me. This, if you made it this far, some people have no attention span and they're like zone out here. But if you made it this far, watch this. Honesty as a buying trigger. Oh my goodness, this one's crazy. Honesty as a buying trigger. So I recently discovered this. I mean, I was doing this for a long time when I was teaching dating, and when I was like, out meeting girls and stuff. But like now I do it in sales, and oh my God, it works so well. So, the old school sales guy tactic where the person who's being sold to, the prospect, thinks this guy's going to lie to me and try to pull the wool over my eyes. Everyone knows that every sleazy sales guy tries to do that. So it doesn't work anymore. It's just dumb. Like, why lie to your prospects? Instead, what I do is I'm very open about the weaknesses of the offer or how the offer might not help, potentially, the offer should help, but I go over one or two things that may not work, and I'm honest about them. I'm very transparent about them. I'm open about them. I don't hide it. And that honesty builds extreme trust, kind of like gets their guard down. It builds extreme trust, and then I create the reason to buy this. Right? How interesting is that? So I'm being extraordinarily manipulative, if you would call it that, but I'm using honesty to trigger them to buy. And I don't know if you call this good or bad. My mom is like, oh my God, it's so manipulative. She knows about all my cool sales tactics. And she's like, oh my God, you say that? And I'm like, yes, I told them the truth. And it causes them to buy. And she's like, wow. I'm like, so what should I do? Should I lie? And she's like, no, it just seems manipulative. And I'm like, yes, and it's for good. Right? So what I do is I use honesty as a buying trigger. I'll give you an example. And you know what? I'll give you a really good example with our program. I'll use our protocols training program. I don't sell that here on YouTube. If you ever wanted to actually buy it, you'd book a call. And even that call is not a sales call. You'd book a 15-minute strategy call with someone on my team, and we'll see if we can help. Then you book the sales call from there. We have a 2-call close process. So the link below, you can book a call with us and we'll talk to you, see if we can help you. But anyways, and we won't sell you anything on that call. We don't pitch at all on the first call. But anyhow, going back to this. So what I do on our offer, right? When people want to work with me, we do a demo call, and you get someone who's just curious about our process. They're like, hey, maybe I'm a little on the fence. I don't know. There's so much sales training out there, all that. Those are the common objections. And what'll happen is I'll tell them one of the things that our program is very difficult. Our program is hard. It's not easy. It's probably the most difficult and most challenging program that's in there in the sales space. I haven't seen one that's more difficult than ours, and I've been in 3 sales programs, pretty much, and most of the big ones, like the 3 kind of big ones. I won't say the names, but I've been in most of those. And what happened is our sales program is very challenging. It's hard. So what salespeople will do is, our prospects, I'll tell them during the pitch, and I'll say, and John, I just want you to know something. I'm role playing now. I just want you to know something. Like, before you even come in here, this program is super tough. Like, you're absolutely going to be pushed to your limits, and this is not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be something that challenges you. And where you have to work. Our program, some people want, in sales, everyone says, sell them something that feels super easy. Our program is not super easy. I'm just telling you that right now. Okay, so there's a negative. I've been open about the negative, even if it's not really negative, but that's a negative, right? But then I'll go positive, and I'll say, however, the program is predictable. The path to success is very predictable, right? You're able to clearly see a path forward, and our success rate is ridiculously high, like very high relative to how big our program is. We haven't had many clients because we haven't scaled it. That's the truth. But for the 45 or so people we've trained, the success rate is ridiculously high. And we have multiple sales reps that are making 10K, 15K, 20K plus, multiple of them. We have them featured. I talk to them. We have proof, right? So what you're going to come into this program expecting, and then blah, 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 and I'll go through the pitch. Let's say an objection, right? Let's use a different offer. Let's say I had a buddy, a guy in our program, Colin, who, great dude, consider him a friend, Colin, who was on a remote cleaning offer. He sold remote cleaning training services where he helped people scale and build remote cleaning businesses, take their business to 10, 15K per month in profit. Let's say Colin, I coached him on this, and his offer with objections, when people would say, okay, but the business model seems a little bit complicated. I'm not sure if it would work for me. The first thing you should not say is, no, the business model isn't complicated. Bullshit. They're not going to believe you because you're the one telling it to them, and you're the sales pro. So your job is to lie to them according to the rules of sales and what they're probably thinking going in. So instead, what I'll do is I'm going to agree to them. I'm going to agree with them, and I'm going to be honest with them, right? Honesty is a buying trigger. Watch this. This is how it would sound. I mean, to be honest, Chris, I would agree with you. Like, I think the business model can be complicated. especially if you don't know what you're doing. And if you're not working with a team of people who make it very simple for you, remote cleaning is not the simplest business model. You have moving parts, you have like pieces coming in different places. You have your cleaners, you have your marketing, you have your sales, you have just taxes management. Like absolutely, this is not just like press a button and you make money. It doesn't work that way. On the other hand, of course, so there we go. Now I've given the honest truth. So now that accelerates the trust now, and it catches them off guard. They're like, okay, you're not lying to me. Now what is he gonna do here? Now that's weird. He said I'm right. I'm like, hell yeah. If you want something that's like not complicated, a business model, don't buy this. Go do remote sales. Remote sales is not a complicated business model. If I was selling that, I would say that go just be a sales guy, or go be a copywriter. You just have to write and make money. All right. Now watch what I'll do the other side now. I'm going to handle the objection. The thing that's interesting though is you're actually building a concrete and very scalable business that requires very little input from you once you get it rolling. Right? So if you're someone who is not very short-term driven and you're very long-term driven and you have a vision for your future and your family's future, John, or his name was Chris in the role play. So if your family's future, Chris, and again, from what you've mentioned here, it seems like you are. Would that not be correct? Yes, he says yes. Then I would say that this business model of remote cleaning actually perfectly aligns with who you want to be and where you want your family to be, simply because it is so scalable and all the complexities are what make it scalable, right? Because you're solving big problems for people who have a big problem to solve, which is where all the money comes in, and you have lifetime clients, you scale it, you build it, and your family's set up for life, man, and you have an asset that you can even build and sell. So I guess if we're thinking short-term versus long-term thinking, do you want to be a long-term thinker or are you a short-term ease thinker? Who are you going to be, John? Chris. I always go to John. Right. Now we put Chris in a really interesting position now. But how do we get there? We got there using honesty. We used honesty to get him in a position where he now is going to back off of his point because we've wiped it off the table. We're like, yeah, dude, you're right. Okay, cool. Now that we accepted that, now let's actually destroy your freaking objection. Let's destroy it. Interesting stuff, right? Honesty as a buying trigger. Third one. You ready for this? Give and take. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. It's similar to honesty. It's a very similar, it follows similar psychology, but it's a little bit different. What I talk about with give and take is, and I teach this to our people in protocols like all the time. This is one of our favorite concepts to go over in terms of getting people just better and getting you from like that 7, 8K mark to like 10, 15, 20K mark in commission. It's crazy. Is give and take. So what I will do a lot when I'm handling objections is I will concede a point. It's, again, very similar to what I went over through honesty, but this is the technicality behind that. I told you we're going to get deeper and deeper. So it's give and take. So I'll concede a point. I'll give a point to a prospect to let their guard down, to get them to let their guard down, but then I'll frame that exact point as why they should commit. So this is a little bit different than how the market works. So a lot of times with honesty, if they say, hey, this is a weakness inside of your program or inside of your offer, I'll say, yes, that's the case, but then also look at it this way, right? That's different. But here, when it comes to give and take, I will say, you're correct, you're right, and that's the exact reason why you should do this. So we just trained on this recently. What was this example? Xavier did this. Shout out Xavier. You're great, man. You're killing it. So Xavier, one of our guys, he gave an objection. He gave an example. We were training live, and he was like, the person would say 24 hours, like, hey, I just want 24 hours to think on things. We had been running through objections for a while, and he doubled down on his objection. I think he was role playing with me or someone else in the program, and he doubled down on his objection and was like, yeah, but I could just take 24 hours. What's the problem with that? Okay, so here's what I did. And look at the logic behind this. I gave and I take. I give and take. In the dating space, we would call it push and pull. Oh my goodness. Those were crazy times. But we're here now in sales. Way better than teaching dating. Way more fun. So give and take, right? Give and take. What I would do is, what I told him was, I was like, yeah, dude, you mean you could take the 24 hours. But I would say the 24-hour gap is the reason why you should do this. Right? Like the whole reason why you could take the 24 hours and push your dreams off further and say, hey, like my dreams aren't worth committing to them now. And instead, I need to take more time to rationalize my way inside or outside of the future I want to have. You could do that. But the other side, of course, is taking responsibility and saying those 24 hours are very important for my journey because of the commitment I'm making to myself as a man to have that future here and now versus offloading it. I think the 24 hours is exactly why you should start now, because of what those 24 hours means. You know what I mean? Please disagree and fight me on it. Tell me why you think I'm wrong there. And then what I do is I put it on the prospect to push back and give me feedback, but oftentimes their logic will fall apart. right? So what I do with give and take is I will actually see the prospect is correct and I'll concede the point. I will literally give them the point, completely give it to them, but then I'll say that's the reason why you should start. So someone will say, I'll give you a really simple example. Someone says this program, oh, it's just really expensive. Let's say fitness. You're selling to some girl named Sarah. She needs to lose weight. She just got out of university. She started her career. She has a bit more time because she's not busy with college and work. She just has work now. She's a nurse. She wants to get her fitness back. She feels like it'll help her with dating, help her with relationships. Cool. There we go. We have a prospect. If I'm moving too fast for you, good luck. But this is usually the pace that I go at. I think real fast. So let's say you're selling to Sarah, okay? And she's like, yeah, I just a lot of money right now. I just started my nursing career and I have a bit saved and I don't know if I want to put that into fitness right now. This is a tough one. This is really a tough one, by the way, because there's no money attached. You can't tell her, hey, you'll make more money. So I'm giving you a more difficult one here. We're going to role play a harder one. So she's like, I'm not sure because it's just a lot of money to do this right now and I'm in a bit of a tough position financially, so I want to wait till later. Boom. I'm going to give and take. Sarah, it is a lot of money. There's the give. I'm going to agree with her. It's a lot of money. I think you're correct. I think I'd be crazy if I thought that this wasn't a lot of money. It's $5,000 we're talking about. You know what I mean? The interesting part about it, though, now here's where I'm going to rip it back. So I gave her the point. Her guard gets down. She's like, well, he's with me now. Now I can escape from making changes. Fuck no. Hope YouTube doesn't cook me for that. I'm going to actually challenge her now. We're going to go the other side. I completely understand. Like 5,000 is a lot of money. I would agree with you. And I think it'd be crazy if I didn't agree with you on that. Like it's a lot. I've been in your situation before. I understand that it's a lot to invest. The thing that's interesting though, Sarah, is I think the other side is also true. Where this being a big investment for you and meaning so much to you is the whole reason why it's important to actually do it now. And there's two reasons for this. Number one is you're ready to take this more seriously. You've let your health go. You've let your fitness go over the last couple months to years. And now you're in a position where, hey, I've determined, like you mentioned earlier, I've determined within myself to draw that line in the sand for myself and my future and give myself and my future a better, healthier, happier version of me. How important is that now to you from 1 to 10? And don't BS me, Sarah. Like, honestly, how important is that to you? She should say a 10 if you've done your discovery correctly. She should say 10 or at least 9.5, whatever. And if she's like 9.5, why is it not a 10? Challenge her on it, then get her to say 10. If you don't know how to do that, your sales skills are not good enough. You probably should train with us. Anyway, so we go to 10. It's a 10. Well, exactly. And that 10 and that willingness is the reason why, Sarah, you need to invest in this, right? You don't need to do anything, but the reason why that version of you who is healthy, who is fulfilled, who is happy, makes that decision where it is tough, and it does feel tough, she makes that decision for herself. Right? This future that you want to have where again, you've cut down 25 pounds, where you found an amazing partner who loves not just your character, Sarah, but also how you look too, and loves the physique, he loves your confidence, and you love your own image because it's about you. That version of you who's there in a year, 2 years from now even, is that worth, to have that for the rest of your life, is that worth $5,000 paid one time? Is it worth that? That entire future? You'll get a yes. She'll say yes to that, right? Well, then in that case, Sarah, I believe that now is actually the time where it is important to start this. And figuring out how we can do it, making it easy, splitting payments, we'll figure that out. But the commitment of that future, that woman I want to be, that's worth the price tag, it seems to me. Would you not agree? Now you have her. You haven't finished the whole process. There's more things you need to do, but now you have her cooked with the objection. She can't use that anymore. Like, there we go. There's always a way. But what I'm doing is I'm giving and taking, right? So I'll give and concede the point, and then I'll rip it away. Super powerful stuff. Fourth, are you ready for this? We're getting even better. We're getting even darker, more diabolical, more evil. Just kidding. Use this for good. This is actually for good, okay? And I sell very ethically. I feel like some of you, if you're finding this video for the first time, you wouldn't believe me, but I sell very ethically. Not even kidding. Like, our clients literally tell me, the reason I worked with you is because you teach the most savage objection handling skills and you do it for good. Yes, right. Thank you, Catherine, for telling me that. Permission seeking. This is the fourth one I use. Oh, man, I'm so good at this. Permission seeking. This is like one of the things I am the best at in handling objections, and I teach it to all of our people. They get really good at it. Stavros is really good at this. Permission seeking. Before destroying someone's logic and the logic for why they don't want to make change, and before I absolutely cook them and just destroy it, what I will do is I'll ask for permission to challenge them deeply. Because me asking for permission makes it okay. So let's say that someone gives me, I like using these real world case studies. So let's say someone Let's use fitness offer again. And they say the reason I can't do this is because I'm just so busy right now with the kids. The kids have started a new school and I'm just really struggling to find that time for myself. So I want to get our lives sorted and come back to this in April. Boom, classic time objection. I'm not a fear of themselves, fear of I can't get this done now because I'm so busy, right? What I will do is I want to absolutely destroy that point, but instead of me challenging them like you have a bunch of time now, or you know what the right objection handling protocol for this should be, it would be there's never going to be a time where there's a perfect time. Life is busy. The reason you should do this as a lesson to yourself and actually to make the most of your journey is teach yourself how to be fit while busy. That's essentially the process we would go down to handle this objection and get them to agree on that and then move them forward emotionally. If you don't know how to do this, watch my objection handling training videos here on YouTube. I have my entire process literally mapped out in a whiteboard, a virtual Miro whiteboard. I show my entire process. You can go back and watch it, and that explains a lot of the stuff I'm saying here and what I'm doing. So what I'll do is permission seeking. Instead of me just wiping away Dave, we'll go with Dave the excuse maker. Instead of me just wiping away Dave's objections and just saying, Dave, here's what I think, I'm going to get permission. So Dave tells me all that stuff. He elaborates. I clarify. Tell me what you mean more about that in terms of the time, what's been going on. He explains it. He says, this is why I can't. Here's how it would sound. Dave, can I share with you a perspective that might challenge it a bit? It may be a bit uncomfortable for me to even say this, and I don't say it to make you uncomfortable, but I just want to be real with you. Can I share with you a thought? The way I just asked that, Dave now has to say, yes, you can share it, or no, you can't. If he says yes, he's now conceded I can challenge him. And I've gotten permission from Dave to literally challenge his mindset, to challenge his thoughts, to challenge his beliefs, to challenge his perspectives, and that is now okay for me to do. Powerful stuff. Permission seeking is one of the best things you could do in sales, especially when you get good, especially when you learn how to handle objections at a high level. Permission seeking opens the door to allow your prospects to surrender to the process and to play ball with the process that you have set out. It's really, really powerful stuff. Permission seeking, I love doing this, and it's something you can do it too much of it, but I would say like, you can use this a lot. You can use permission seeking a lot. You don't want to use it 3-4 times on a call, but 1 or 2 times done really, really well. Like, can I just share with you a thought here? And again, don't want to overstep. I just want to share with you something that popped in my head. Yes, please share with me. You'll get a yes on that. Number 5, and this is the last one I'll give you, and then we'll zip. This is the deepest one, creating crossroads. So what creating crossroads means is you're having the prospect choose between 2 pathways, a tough pathway that's going to require them to be extremely open and honest about who they want to be. Okay, and we have different kinds of crossroads. We have emotional crossroads, we have logical crossroads. So what crossroads for me would be, and the way we teach it in our program, is crossroads is like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be this person, yes or no? That's what a crossroads is. Or do you feel like this person would take this action, yes or no? Or are you the kind of person who wants to do this thing, yes or no? For yourself and your family, does your family deserve this, yes or no? Emotional or creating logical and emotional crossroads, as we call them, crossroads questions are so powerful because the prospect has to pick and choose. It makes them feel like they have control. The prospect has to pick and choose under their own control and their own decision-making who they want to be. And oftentimes, people are going to stay consistent. Hear me out. Listen to me. This is important. People will oftentimes stay consistent with who they want to be from the top of the call. So if you have a guy, let's use sales training. I'll use you guys. Let's say you came into remote sales and you thought that this was going to be a walk in the park. You're like, oh, I'm just going to make a bunch of money with remote sales. Really, it's not that easy because you have to be good. So a lot of you think you can just do it, but you can't because you're not good, which is why I exist, to help you get good. So I say that with love. Okay, I'm not being arrogant, I'm being honest. I hope I have your permission to do that, as evidenced here by my manipulative objection handling tactics. So what a lot of sales pros come in thinking is like, this is going to be a walk in the park, it's going to be super easy, and they just like, I'll just handle it, do whatever I want, and I'll get paid, right? Just show up to calls. You're okay, you get 5-6K a month, but you're not really setting your family free. You're basically getting paid 9 to 5 money, all right? What I will do is when I get a call like this, and let's say the guy is giving me objections. Let's say he's like, yeah, I'm just wondering if I should stay as an appointment setter more or I should try this more on my own. Let's say that. Try more on my own and keep figuring it out before I invest in coaching. That's a common objection. I hope I'm not giving you objections here to give me on a live call. I'll handle them if you do. But anyways, so what would I do there in terms of paths and crossroads? How would it look? Because I know he came onto the call being an action taker and saying that speed is important. He came onto the call with this. So what am I going to do here? I will present a crossroads to get him to act in accordance with who this person wants to be when they came on the call. So what that would sound like would be, well, I guess I would ask you, John, and you definitely can, again, take time and go and reinvent the wheel and try doing more of this on your own with, I guess, the 1 hour meeting you have like with your sales manager, who like I train people like him every week. You can do that, John, and I say that with respect. I know I'm a bit of an asshole, but honestly, you can do that. There's me giving. I'll show you the techniques I'm giving. Now I'm going to take it. But on the other hand, I think speed is very important here, and again, that's a big reason for you is not burning more cash, because you have one life. And you're going to be in this position in your life where you are invested in getting better in sales. You are invested in changing your life and your family's life. You're going to be in this position one time, right? You have the next year, let's say the next 6 months, the next 2 years, however long it would be. You have this period of time. And I would dare say every month, every week is extremely important. Would you not agree? That's not a crossroads yet. I'm not giving him a crossroads. I'm just presenting a point. He would say, well, yeah, time is important. Maybe he would be like, I'm not sure. Time is important, but I'm going to cut him off, drive him forward. Well, really quick. Time is important, yes, but it's more than just time being important. It's also making decisions that are in accordance with that kind of sales pro who you want to be, who's earning 15, 20K a month. That sales pro who makes 15 to 20K a month, which is a very important idea I want you to have in your head. That guy who's literally a multi-six-figure sales professional, right? We're talking about $200,000 to $300,000 a year here, John. I'm like, no joke. It's not a little bit of money. You're in a top, whatever, 10% tax bracket there. Seriously, you have freedom, right? That guy, does he kind of bumble around in the dark, trying weeks at a time, more and more, doing his own thing, hoping to figure it out without mentorship and proper real accountability, right? Because he doesn't want to invest or he doesn't need to? Or does that guy say, hell no, I'm going to invest in the right kind of mentors, the right kind of coaches, and the right kind of training? I'm not even talking about us. I'm just saying, what does he do in his life in general? Frankly, I don't think it's saying I want to extend the timeline it takes for me to get results by wondering if I should do mentorship. It's like, let me get better. What does he do? Crossroads. Now he has to pick. Well, that guy does invest in mentorship. That's what the logical answer should be. Maybe he would push back and I would solve it. But you see how I'm giving him a crossroads. So now once I win the crossroads and he says he invests in mentorship, he takes action. Of course he does. He has mentors. Well, there we go. Because you don't have mentors now, brother, which is why we're here, right? So then I would ask you, do you feel like we can be the ones to mentor you? If you don't, then hey, I don't even want you spending $25 here if you don't feel like we can mentor you. But do you feel like what we do in our process can take you from the 5K you're at now to the 15K mark you want to be on your offer, or even finding a better offer? Or how do you feel? He'd say yes. If I've done my discovery right, he should say yes to that. Okay, well, good. Then what does that guy do? Because frankly, brother, it's really not stumbling around in the dark for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks and putting it off just to save a couple pennies without investing in himself. It doesn't make sense to me, brother. It's acting against who you want to be. You know what I mean? What does that guy do? Then he would wrestle with it. He would hesitantly say, yeah, he probably would start, but it's a lot of money, man. Then I would jump in with emotional crossroads questions. The question I have, John, is like, does your family and the future family you want to have and build, do they deserve you to be that kind of man who's bringing in 15, 20K per month as a sales professional? Do they deserve that from you? Yes or no? There we go. Clean the whole process. Clean him up. Done. Finish. He's going to close. He's going to buy. Dark tactics. Fun stuff. That's it. I want to tell you one more thing before I leave. I'm going to let you go here. None of this is going to work if you don't respect the full process. So you can hear all these gimmicks and all these techniques and all these things from me, which are, I shouldn't say that. They're not gimmicks, right? These are cool techniques and strategies that I use. But the only reason all these things work is because I have the right tone, I have the right energy. My discovery is freaking elite level. And my objection handling process, the way I lead it is better than anyone that I know in the space, anyone that I know in the industry, right? And I'm not saying that I'm so good, but I'm one of the best people, the best person that I know at sales. Straight up, okay? And that's why I coach this shit, because I can walk the walk and talk the talk. You can see my calls. I have them on YouTube. I have them out. They're live. I have them on our landing pages. If you click below and book a call, you'll see my calls in the confirmation page. I put them all out, right? Because I have nothing to hide, because I'm damn good. So the only way this works is if you're good. So the last thing I'll tell you, and this is our call to action for the video, if you want to get good and you want to have a conversation around how to get good, because it requires you to be good to make money in sales. In remote sales, all the people I train right now, all of our top guys, the guys who have made all the money with us, the case studies you see, the people I talk about in the videos, all of them are good because of skill set, and they make money because of skill set. So if you want to be in that position and you want to make that happen in your life, click a strategy call. Click the link to book a strategy call. A strategy call is 15 minutes or talk to one of the guys on our team. It's not a sales call. I don't have a call to action going to sell you anything, and I will not do that. But it's a strategy call. It's 15 minutes where we're going to do a discovery call with you and screen to see if you're a good fit to work with us, if you want to work with us, also if you like what we have in terms of just like, what we do, how we do it, talking about skill set, etc. We'll look if you have the finances to work with us, if we have that, get to that point and get to that conversation. And then we'll invite you to book a demo call. But the first thing is strategy call. It takes 15 minutes out of your time and you have nothing to lose. And hey, we'll give you some resources there if you're not a good fit to work with us, or vice versa, you don't like us. We'll give you good resources for how you can get better at sales immediately. Some crazy elite level stuff we have. And if you don't want to click the button because you don't like clicking call to actions because you're not an action taker, or you're already in my program, then just keep watching our stuff and getting better from YouTube for the free stuff. Okay, goodbye. I'll see you on the next one. Let's keep getting better. Apply this. Don't use it to manipulate your girlfriend or boyfriend, husband, whoever you have, and just use it to make money in sales and help people change their lives. Goodbye.